So I'm up here in Phoenix doing a reinspection for another inspector. It's kind of weird, we don't do this very often where we do reinspections for somebody else's original inspection, but they couldn't be here for the reinspection, so I am filling in. So luckily, Mr. Charles Jeans, the tattooed inspector, does great reports, and it's really easy to find everything on his reports. So I'm just gonna page through it and we're gonna go through this thing together. I'm gonna show you what he called out, what got fixed, and then we'll do the reinspection. I'll show you how they fixed it. First things first, I printed out a copy of the original home inspection done by Safe House, Mr. Charles Jeans down here. This is basically the same layout as my system. We use the same software, so we're gonna have a summary page, all the items that are a problem, listed with numbers, and then we get into the report and it breaks it down. So every call out is gonna have its own number, so we can cross-reference it back to the Binzer really easily. So roof covering was supposed to be replaced, all of it. It's not going to get done till August. They didn't tell me until I showed up today, so I got up on the roof and noticed there's still a lot of problems. They still have drip edge issues. There's some water damage on some of the soffits. There are loose tiles. There are cracked tiles up on the roof as well. So we're not too worried about the roof today. More worried about some of this other stuff. So drill and fill marks are present because there was some pest intrusion damage. Specifically in the garage here, you can see some of the tubes that Charles found throughout the garage. That looks like it's in the closet, so let's go take a peek. So one thing that sucks about doing somebody else's reinspection is I don't know where exactly they found the termites. So we're just gonna have to peek around and make sure that wherever they were, maybe they wiped off the termite trails. We're not gonna see much, even if they did do the repairs, because, you know, removing termite tube doesn't remove the termites. It only helps make people feel better because they don't see the tubes anymore. You see that staining back there? That's an old tube that's been sealed up, filled in. So that's good. I like to see that. That's basically what we're looking for. Means that somebody was paying attention to it. Oh, we've got another tube up there. Another tube sticking out right there. And just see if there's anything active today. Doesn't look like it. You can see they came out of that little hole right there and then they tunneled this way, that way. Decided they weren't gonna continue, so they went back in. Found another location to come out. Not seeing too much evidence. Another tube down in here. I don't see anything moving around. Those are just holes from mounting. Don't see any more termite trails over here. Yeah, there was one back up in here. Nothing down there. So I'll take my best guess and try and find the locations where the termites are. They're almost always on these garage walls because this is unconditioned space and it's not very ventilated either, so it's going to be damp in here. You drive a car in here after it rains, all that humidity goes up into the walls, and then eventually you're going to have termites finding their way in through trim boards, through the sheetrock, up through the stem wall, and into your home. I think there was a couple termite tubes in the corners in the pictures, but it looks like it's all cleared up. There's some spalling down here that was painted over. It doesn't look like they patched it, just looks like they painted on it. I did want to point this out too. I didn't see this in Charles's report, but probably because they're not a huge deal, but look at all that missing grout. I mean, you get a few spots where they did an okay job. You missed it there, you missed it there, there. I mean, literally just enough to keep this thing from falling apart. I don't like it. Main plumbing cleanouts here on the west side of the driveway. And I want to point that out too. That's roof sheathing that's really damaged. Charles called that out as well. You can see they tried to patch some of this with some sealant. It's not doing a fantastic job in there, is it? It's already starting to work its way out. Many of these cracks. Ugh. God, that's ugly. That is ugly. Alright, so they did some painting on the stem wall down here. Looks nice and smooth. I don't see spalling or anything crazy going on. We also see drill and fill marks, those little holes. It's where they treated for termites. And they put a new pressure reducing valve on here. So this has been changed as well. They called out the loose conduit going up to the irrigation panel, and that's fine. They also called out conduit that was rusting out, going back to the pool equipment, and that conduit has been replaced. There is no spalling or excessive deterioration of the stem wall that I can see in these areas. It's likely been repainted. I know in the electrical panel, he called out a couple breakers for being recalled. So some old blue button square D breakers been replaced with some white ones. Both operational, which is good. I don't see any current termite treatment though. This is just the pre-treatment. So if they had it retreated, they just didn't leave a tag in there. So definitely need to get a hold of the termite company to get a copy of that warranty. Now there are a couple holes on the bottom side of these windows that were not filled in. That one is not yet filled in. It's a wide open gap. Big old crack down there. Some of these were sealed in, but most of them pretty obvious. Yeah, these were sealed in. This window looks pretty good down there. But we want to make sure that we get these cracks under the windows sealed up so the wasps don't get up underneath them. There is a couple spots on the front of this that were sealed up. You can see the sealant around that hole. It's a little bit shinier than the rest of it. Yeah, there's some there too. So they did a little bit of patching, but you still have a pretty good hole on that one side. These were some of the tubes that were in the garage. Some of them are still present. And then these are the holes that Charles was calling out that needed to be patched up. That one hole is still there. Need to look under the front door to make sure that that's patched up. Up there in that soffit area and over by this door as well. That hole was not filled up. That was the one on the east side of the property. Here's your damaged eave. So that OSB board in there needs to be replaced. The roofers are going to do this in August when they redo your roof. Just make sure they replace that board. Got some loose fascia, loose water stains. All of that is going to be addressed with the new roof. Stem wall, freshly painted, patched, spalling, crumbling. This is what was being called out. And then the spalling and everything has been painted shut at this point. So there are no major cracks visible. Ask the seller for the invoices for whoever did the work, because there are some decent hairline cracks here that are not visible anymore. So they patched it, sealed it up, no idea where they are. A couple more over there. Foundation looks all right today. I don't see anything that needs to be called out. Next thing I'm looking at, loose damaged conduit. We just talked about that outside. The rusted conduit going back to the pool equipment, the conduit up to the irrigation, and the rusted conduit back to the pool again. There's the recalled breaker, the blue button GFCIs by a square D. And we tested all the exterior outlets again to make sure that they tested. We want to see 2 lights on the side, and we were good in that respect. Switch is installed improperly. I believe that we're talking about this switch and that switched outlet. This is one of the problems about doing somebody else's reinspection is I wasn't here and it was a little bit hard to understand what room exactly. I mean, it says living room, but when the pictures are really close, all you can see is the outlet and the little tester button. So you don't actually get to see the room that it's in. So it says living room. This looks like the living room. And this is a three-way switch. We've got the middle switch here, goes to that top switched outlet, and it also goes to this switch right here on the wall. So it's a three-way switched outlet. It's working fine today. The best I can say is there's no problems with it anymore, that somebody did look at it, because there's no problems there. If it's a different room, we need to talk to the buyer about it and make sure. There's the switches. See, I'm doing the best, trying to locate it up. See, there's his tester. There's a cable connection about, I don't know, 18 inches off to the side. Then there's a 2-gang outlet, or 2-gang switch, and a single gang switch. That's what's a little bit confusing to me, is this is a 3-gang switch, and this is connected to that one. And then that's a 2-gang switch, even though the electrical or the cable connection is right there. It's about the right distance, right? Let me take you upstairs into the second story living room to see if we can match it up here, because this is the only other living room in the house. We have an outlet there, double switch. We do have a single switch over here, and it's working here, no problem. No problems with that one either. But see, he took a picture of a tester in an outlet, and the cable connection was to the right of the outlet, not to the left of the outlet. So I'm just using my smarts to try and figure this out. Yeah, this is all the stuff that fell out of the attic when I opened up the hatch. And now I get to try and clean that up. I will point out that nobody asked for the carbon monoxide detectors to be replaced. I don't know why the red ones don't ever get fixed. It's kind of crazy. All right, now we're looking at the heating cooling system. We do have some rust still up in the drain pan. Drain pan was never replaced. The problem with that is next time it's going to leak, it's going to continue to rust on the side of your house because all this rust is already here. That's the problem with these drain pans. If they don't get replaced, it's just going to keep rusting. Now these units are like 20 years old, so whenever they get a new unit in the next few years, they'll probably replace all these pans. So this condensate line was called out too, because this is 2 into 1. This is 2 condensate lines, and then it connects over here into 1. We don't want to do that because that only has 1 discharge point on the outside of the house. So if this system backs up, it's going to back up that system too. So now you not only have 1 system backing up, but you potentially have 2 systems backing up. Now each of these drain lines go out to the perimeter of the house through their own separate PVC lines. There's another one over there for that pan. So the pans are separate, but the main condensate line is all in 1 line. We don't like to see that. We like to see each individual unit have its own line to the outside so it can keep itself clean and it doesn't cause problems with the other unit if it does back up. Other than that, there's not much going on up here in this attic. There's a bunch of plywood or OSB put up here for some storage. This actually just goes down into a bedroom. And you can see all the old plastic bags that are deteriorated. Yeah, it made a huge mess on the floor of that bedroom when I opened up the door. Yikes. And drain line incorrectly vented. Insulation missing or damaged on the condensate line. Unit not level, drain line blocked. All that stuff seems to be okay today. This was not asked to get repaired. None of this was asked to get repaired. Only the highlighted stuff is basically what the buyers requested. Temperature split. We got a poor performance, unit number 1, which would be the first level. We have poor performance, and we're going to test that with our thermometer. All right, so both air returns are up here on the second floor. We've got 70 degrees going into the AC system at this air register. And that's for the main floor here, so, you know, stack effect, you're going to get a lot of hot air rising up here in the summertime. Getting sucked up into that air return. So we got 7 degrees down to 55. It's a 15-degree difference, roughly. And over here, 15, 16, 15, roughly. You know, this is going to be a different temperature split too because the air return is on the second floor. So typically you'd have an air return on each level just to help suck the air through, but since both air handlers are up in the attic right above us here, both air returns, you can't see the other one, it's on that side. They're both located at the top of the stairs. So if you had an air return down here, your return temperature might be a little bit cooler yet. So you might not even get as big of a split as we're getting today, if that makes sense. Because the air down here would be a little bit cooler because it's lower, and the air upstairs would be a little bit hotter. Just for reference, let's look. Floor is 77 degrees, wall 77 degrees. I mean, this is wall temperature, this is an ambient temperature. But just to kind of give you an idea, 74 degrees. Wall up here, interior wall, 72 degrees, 71 degrees. We are getting a lot of AC. 73, 74. Well, you can sure see where the air is coming out, can't you? Right there. So I don't see an immediate problem with the HVAC system, but it is 20 years old, so we're due to replace it pretty soon. Is it operational? Yeah. You're just gonna have to keep up with the servicing on it. Doesn't look like the garbage disposal is leaking anymore, which is good. That was another thing that was written up. So it was leaking right at the top. Looks like they actually replaced the unit. Now we have a leak at the valve, washing machine valve, spigot damaged on the outside, excessive pressure. Let's go take a look. So this was replaced. You can tell that they did some drywall repairs right here. They replaced those connections, or at least secured them so they're not dripping anymore and leaking down here. I don't see any water damage. I'm going to pull out a moisture meter and just double check that. But then on the outside, we still have 100 psi because the pressure reducer was installed after this valve, so we have to test it on the other side of that valve, right? Because usually they would be installed down here, but you're going to have super high pressure at this one hose bib that they replaced with an angle stop valve handle. It's functional, but this is an interior. This is like super lightweight aluminum. This will get bent, this will get damaged super easy, but also still at super high pressure. Let's go check this somewhere else. Well, that's not going to work. Sometimes you can hook it right up to the drain cock on the water heater. Just going to keep that running, making sure that that doesn't leak. Find a different hose bib back here that we can test the water pressure on. And after the pressure reducing valve, we're at 60. So it's doing its job. It is reducing the pressure from about 100 down to 60, which puts less pressure on all your fittings, less pressure on the shower heads, less chance of a plumbing leak, especially when you're not home, because that pressure goes up and down whether you're home or not. And if you got 100 psi of water pressure pushing on all your fixtures all the time, it's going to eventually cause some leaks. So after our water pressure, we're going to move on to anti-siphon. See, these are not highlighted, so they did not ask any of these to get replaced. Rust and corrosion at the water heater. Inoperable valve that looks like a pedestal sink. Anti-siphon device is damaged or inoperable at the front of the house. That was working just fine. Anti-siphon missing right there for the irrigation line or the pool. That would be irrigation actually on that side of the house. Past its expected lifespan, the water heater, and no drip pan. So recommend further evaluation and install a drip pan. We just looked at this, but we've got a new water heater. Can't really tell the date. Maybe I can get it back there. Does that have a date on it? Yeah. Alright, 2025. Brand new. And we have a pan. And the pan discharges down to the floor. You see that PVC pipe back there. That's what we want to see, otherwise what's the point? So it gets down to the floor below this curb, so water can't hit any wood other than the cabinets. It's going to destroy the bottom of your cabinets, but other than that, you'll be okay. So new water heater. Next up, doors, windows. We did not highlight any of these. They did not ask for them to get repaired. Cracked grout lines, poor patching. Didn't repair any of it. Exhaust system. Vent cover does not properly seat and seal. Right side exterior wall. That would be right out there. Let's go take a peek. So we have a couple different connectors here. And yeah, that's not seating quite properly yet. I don't have any vents on at the moment, so that should be closed. That one's closed, so we're good on that one, but that one needs a little bit of repair. You just want to make sure that that stays closed so you don't get birds in there. I know, ask me about it. Alright, no leaks. Nice and dry. Nice and solid. I'll turn that off now. Somebody ran the dishwasher, didn't leave it open. Ugh, that's gonna stink. Just let that air out a little bit. So, not done. Still not sealed. Fireplace, didn't mess with the fireplace. Swimming pool and spa. So now we're looking at pool electrical, pool light not working, and pipe leaking. Looks like a pipe right on top of the pump. Immediate concern because it's right next to the house. That looks like these are going to be our two last. So let's make sure the pool pump is not leaking anymore and the pool light is operational. Looks like some fresh repairs. This is fresh paint right in through here. I don't see anything leaking. Put a nice union on here so you can disconnect this and replace your pump if you need to without breaking the pipes again. And then our pool light is, it's labeled light, but it's not. That's your pump. And that's turning your pump off right there. So let's turn the filter on and see what happens with the light. Lights are usually pointed away from the house. Yep. We've got lights. So we're all good there. Good sized swimming pool. Not too big, nice little place to relax and cool down. I don't know what's going on here. There's like this big white spot. This is like, I think it's like a rock, but I thought this was calcium buildup from the pool right away, but that is pretty cool. I don't know. It's almost like little diamonds Little gems. Anyway, well, that does it for my reinspection today here in Phoenix. I gotta say, hands off to the tattooed inspector. Thanks for laying out everything where I could find it, and it was easy to locate. Besides that one three-way switch, I think we're okay on that one, but I'm gonna give you a call, Charles, and just double check on that one. But I expect the buyers to show up here soon, and we'll go over all this stuff. Like I said, the roof isn't going to get done until August. I don't know how that worked out. I did get up there today. There's still some cracked tiles, the sheathing damage at the front, and then your underlayment is shot. I appreciate working with other good home inspectors, and I look forward to continuing a good relationship with these guys because we grow together, we learn together. We're so independent, many of us, not all of us, but like I work alone. I don't have anybody anymore. I used to have a big team that I worked on, 5 of us, 4 of us, and now I'm just kind of flying solo. So working with other individual inspectors that do a good job that we can learn and grow from each other, I think is really important in our profession, because there's a lot of things that happen in these houses. There's so many moving parts, from the roof down to the foundation, plumbing, electrical, pool, solar, heating and cooling, plumbing, just so much stuff. And as much as I know and as much as I want to know, I don't know everything. I don't know if I'll ever know anything. I'm learning every day. So if I can learn more from these guys and not have to pay for it. This concludes my reinspection. Thanks for watching me. I'm Home Inspector Dan. Hope to see you guys on the next one. And look me up, propertyinspectionsplus.com. Let's get an inspection done here in Phoenix. You know, I'll walk with you, hand in hand, point out all the problems in your house, point out what should be done, how to get them done, and then we can even come back for a reinspection as well. So give me a call. And if anybody from Spectora is watching, Spectora happens to be the software that we use, that Charles and myself is using. It's wonderful software, but one thing they might be able to do a little bit better, and I'm not sure if this is even possible, is like today, I'm doing a reinspection for Charles. He wrote his inspection on Spectora, so he used a different template. All of us have different templates. So we get our software, we load it up with all of our comments and things that we want and how we work in our flow. So when we do a reinspection, all we have to do is add a few things, all the items that were looked at, and then we can go back through and just check them off. Being that I didn't do the original inspection, I can't do that little checklist. So I can't just upload it into my software, go through all of his pictures and stuff, because it's his template, it's not going to fit in my template. So if there's one way that you guys at Spectora could maybe make this easier for us, and this doesn't happen very often at all, and so maybe the ROI on this would be kind of minuscule, but make it so I could download his report onto my software, even like a temporary template, even if I have his comments and stuff like that. It's not that we're trying to call him out, it's just simplicity, and it makes it a lot easier. And I'm gonna have to write this thing in Google Docs or Microsoft Word or something like that, because I can't just upload this stuff into my template. All the numbers are gonna be different than Charles. Let's see, his numbers can go 2.1, 2.1, 2.1, 2.1.4, and then we got 3.1. So roof is all 2s, exterior's 3s, basement 4, garage 5, electrical 6. While on mine, I think we have this a little bit differently, because like roof is 2, then exterior, and then I think my basement, foundation, crawl space and stuff like that would have been up here in number 1. So just some of our comments and where we put them, a lot of our comments are the same, but sometimes where we put them in the report is going to be a little bit different. But you can see how easily this isolates every system, so you can go back through it and be like, all right, we're going to repair, or we're going to ask for number 2.1.1, seller to replace the roof, 2.1.1, underlayment damage deteriorated, and then you can also just go back in here and look at the pictures, match it up with the numbers, 2.1.1. So if I could just get a copy of his original inspection report and just go through it and just check off done, 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 I wouldn't have to rewrite this whole thing in Microsoft Doc today, which is probably going to take half hour, 45 minutes. Not a big deal, but you know, just one way you guys could improve your software. And if there's any software company out there that's making some major changes and moving forward with AI, with simplicity, with user interface, it's Spectora. I used HomeGauge for 5-6 years, especially when I was with BPG Inspections. It was kind of a proprietary version of HomeGauge. They've switched it now. But HomeGauge is, it's there, it's solid, it's great software, but it's not intuitive. It's not able to send an email 3 different times to my agent or my buyer before and after the inspection automatically. It doesn't automatically populate different templates for me automatically depending on what type of order comes through. So the software that Spectora does, I've been holding off on it for quite some time, but it's the same price as HomeGauge. Honestly, it's way farther ahead than where HomeGauge is ever going to be. So I'm glad I made the switch, and if you're a home inspector like I am and you're still on HomeGauge, if it's working great for you, don't change it. But I was having problems going home at night and writing my report for like an extra 2 hours every night because I like things to look perfect, at least as perfect as I can. We still make mistakes, but I spend a lot of time making sure that all the pictures are in the right spot. I'm making sure that all my comments are in the right spot. And with HomeGauge, it's really difficult to do the pictures and the comments on site unless you don't take a lot of pictures or you don't write a lot of comments. So there's inspectors that do it. The reports end up being a little bit shorter than they should be, in my opinion, especially for the price that we're charging these buyers. So I'm here looking out for you guys. If you guys need any questions answered about a home inspection or moving forward, moving to Phoenix, want to know what it's like living in, the cellar of hell, let me know. It's nice and warm down here. But if that's your thing, it's a great area to be. I'm Home Inspector Dan. We'll catch you guys in the next one. This is going to look a little weird. So there's the Safe House Home Inspection Report. We're going to put it in a folder marked Property Inspections Plus because that's how we roll. And then a copy of the bins are right here with all the items that needed to be fixed. Put that in here for our buyer as well. Now this can get a little bit confusing because this angle valve is locked up. It's froze, right? And one of the things that I do on my inspections is I will not turn these, because when you turn these things, I'm turning it now because we're testing it and they possibly had it fixed. But the more I turn this thing, the more chances are that I create a leak. Once this thing leaks and creates all this damage in here, it's on me. So that angle stop is frozen up. That's something that Charles caught. Valve inoperable here. Water distribution supply valve is seized. Recommend experienced plumber further evaluate and repair. That wasn't done, but what gets a little bit confusing is when they say fix known leaks throughout the house, kitchen, laundry room, spigot, etc. Washer valve is still leaking. Repair poorly patched wall beneath washer valve. Most of that stuff was done, but if you're just saying fix known leaks throughout the house, this isn't a known leak, so it never got fixed. So it comes down to wording. If you really wanted to get this fixed, you would have put that number on there, 9.3.6, but they didn't list it. So that did not get fixed.